We're the two gay reefers.
Hey Reefers, it's been a while, hasn't it? Now, I just wanted to jump in here at the start of the video to explain Gordon and I have started our own business. So we're really excited. It's going great, but things have been really chaotic. So we really deeply apologize for not creating more content for you guys. We've been a bit busy, but now you know the reason why. But that's going to change. Everything's sort of settled down now with the business. We're in a groove and we're here to create more content for you. And we've got some exciting things coming up. I mean, Reefzilla is 1 whole year old. It's been a year since this beast has been up and running. So let's travel back in time and show you the beginnings of Mega Reefzilla all the way through to now and give you a big, juicy update which you deserve.
Flashback.
Today we are moving all the livestock out to the new house, so it's going to be a bit scary, it's going to be a bit full on.
Nick's working hard, look at him. Has changed, but a lot really hasn't.
Yeah, the tank's looking really good and really healthy, but we haven't done a lot to the tank at the same time, which is definitely the key to what we're doing with Mega Reefzilla. We're sort of just trying to be not as hands-on, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not having our hands in it multiple times a day.
Yes. So
Every day.
I've made a big difference by not putting my hands in until I do a water change. So no fragging, no moving of corals until our weekly water change. Yeah, my hands are in the tank then anyway, so I may as well do all my hand stuff at the same time.
Yeah. And he has been very good at doing it. Occasionally he gets in there when he shouldn't be, but he has been very good at doing it. So, which definitely has helped
The health of the
the health
coral.
of the tank. Well, I reckon it has.
So the biggest change since our last update is unfortunately we lost our white-cheeked tang blackadder. Unfortunately it was due to ick.
Yeah.
So we sort of knew we had ick in the tank. We always had it in Reefzilla, and there's nothing to say that it wouldn't have come across to Mega Reefzilla as well.
All the rocks came across, and most of the livestock, well, all of the livestock came across. So, you know, if it's there, it was going to come across.
Yeah, unfortunately it looked like Blackadder just wasn't doing well, and he just sort of was a bit off his food, and got a little bit skinny, and then all of a sudden the spots broke out.
Yeah. Which happens. Like if your fish isn't healthy to start with, or isn't eating properly, or isn't doing really, really well to start with, it's going to be more susceptible to things like ick.
Yeah. So what happened was that he broke out, a couple of the other fish broke out. I pumped up the food to make sure they were getting enough food, because healthy fish will overcome ick more likely. And it started disappearing. So he lost his spots. Some of the other fish started looking better. So I just sort of went, phew, that was a close call. Unfortunately, a couple of days later, his came back again, and he pretty much went downhill overnight. So we took him out of the tank into a holding tank of sorts, heater and a little bit of medication to see if it would help him. Unfortunately, it didn't. But as soon as he came out of the tank, all the other fish started losing their spots and recovered really well. So we were lucky enough, it was a close call, but we only lost the one fish to ick. And the rest have been fine ever since. And to be honest, I think some of them are fatter than they were before. So
Yeah. View footage of Homer here.
yeah, Homer and Ruby are the fattest fish we've
Chunkies.
yeah. As bad as that was, it was sort of good because
If you're in the reefing community for long enough, you lose fish. It's just a fact of life. Something you learn to live with and move on.
and we just count the positives that we didn't lose all our fish or
Yep.
any of our fish apart from blackadder.
Yep.
So
Yep. And all the corals were looking healthy, so there's no other issues there. It was just that one. So.
recently we also lost Dory, our blue tang. Now, he was a great fish, been on a little bit of the skinny side for a while, but lately I really felt like he was doing a lot better. He'd fattened up a bit. He's very active in the tank. Unfortunately, we came home the other day and he was just lying on the floor, like dead, not even under a rock. So whatever happened to him happened fast, I'd say. And yeah, there was no spots on him, no reason for him to die. Unfortunately, just one of those things. Gonna miss the guy. He was a great little fish. But yeah, we're not having a lot of luck with fish lately, unfortunately. But that's reefing, isn't it? So that started off the period with a little bit of unsettled stability-wise. There was a little bit of algae came into the tank.
Just because you're overfeeding,
Yep.
you're putting more nutrients into the tank, and of course algae's going to bloom because that's what happens.
Yep. But it soon went away after a couple of weeks, and it was probably about this time that some of the SPS got a little bit burnt on their tips as well. Now, it could have been because of the extra nutrients in the tank. That's what I'm putting it down to. But I've also come to accept that with SPS, it's better just to ride it out and not try and make major changes when things like this happen, because it's probably something that's happened a couple of weeks or even a month or 2 months ago that is now
You're seeing the effect.
seeing the effect on the SPS. So it's better to ride these things out, keep things as stable as possible, and most things have turned around. We've seen some nice growth on a couple of SPS.
Yep.
There's a couple that are looking brilliant in colour but not putting out a lot of growth. And then there's others that are still nubs. They're still healthy. They're just not doing anything. They're just sitting there. Yeah. Not doing much.
But I mean, our tank doesn't use a lot of the elements either. Like, we obviously use a fair bit of elk.
Yeah, so ALK is still pretty much the only thing we're dosing
Yep.
because our regular water changes
Does
help
everything else.
does the calcium and
Keeps
the
everything else at a
magnesium.
nice level for us. So, like, every time we do a water test, which granted we don't do enough water tests, but every time we do a water test, we're already a little bit too high, if anything, on the calcium and magnesium.
For magnesium especially.
Yeah, especially magnesium. Yeah.
The tank, especially after Blackadder left, have noticed some changes. The big leather has polyped out again, which it was just starting to when Blackadder went downhill, because he was nipping at it. So it could have even been that because he was nipping at it, he was getting toxins from the leather, and that could have caused him to go downhill. So the leather's nice and happy. Most of our LPS have recovered really nicely. I've seen a big improvement in some of them in the last 3 months. The things like Zoas have just shot off. They've just started going berserk. We've got Zoas that are now growing onto the bottom glass, which is nice. So really looking forward to the time where our SPS are making a big impact into the tank like our LPS are. Hopefully that will change in the next 6 to 8 months and we'll start seeing some real good growth from the SPS. So we'll go through and have a look at some of the colonies of coral now. Okay, let's start on this side of the tank. Obviously the first main difference is we've added a new rock to the aquascape. I want to give them space to grow into bigger colonies, and there wasn't a lot of room. This rock has been in the sump since day dot basically. It's nice to have a little bit more room, and obviously it's got its nice little brown covering because it's a new rock. If we go down a bit further, these three in the center of the frame started as tiny little frags. We got them from a reefer down the Gold Coast. They've been through a lot. They've been through Mega Reefzilla ups and downs. Had these tiny little frags that survived that, put them in here, and they're just gone gangbusters. They've joined together because they were three separate ones, so they're making quite a nice big colony right there. The super lime green one above that, that is a Horrida. It's looking really good. It's come back really well from a couple of months ago. I planted it on its side like that because it was the healthier side. We have the Dallas up the top. Now I've ended up putting all my frags of Dallas in the one spot to grow a bit faster. Since the start of the year, the little growing tips it did have on all browned out. Not sure why it's happening. It's still perfectly healthy. Probably my favorite acro at the moment, just because it's growing so well, is the Blue Lightning up here. Now a lot of this has come from the other side, which was growing horizontally when I wanted to grow vertical. So the horizontal growing branches I've broken off and popped up here at the apex of the scape. So it should be exciting to see it grow upwards in the next couple of months. Now this bird's nest bird of paradise is going gangbusters. It's so beautiful. We've got this lovely plating Monty. Now this was a tiny frag when we first got it. It's like tripled in size. It's got nice little layers to it. And I've been spreading little pieces around the tank. This Symphilia in this corner has been moved from the other side of the tank. I have a feeling it could be a little bit stingy and was annoying the Blastos on that side. So it's got quarantined over there. As well as this orange Lobo has been taken to the center of the tank for much the same reason. It was really stinging the Blastos. We have this nice coral in the middle. What is it? You may be wondering what this new rock is in the middle here. This was just to keep the anemone at bay from attacking everything over here because it's just starting to creep over. We all thought the anemone was getting big and was going to be the showpiece of the tank, but now that the tang has gone from the tank, it's being dwarfed by this leather. Like the polyp extension on this leather is glorious. Like yeah, it's amazing. It's got that deep fluoro green base in there, which is really nice under blues. So pretty. One thing that really has gone nuts are the Zoas. They had retracted earlier in the year. They weren't happy, but ever since conditions have become more stable, they've just gone nuts. Like we've got scrambled eggs there. There's a couple of other little Zoas up in the top corner there. We've got this one here now. I'm not sure what sort of variant this is. This is a Western Australian one. Have had it for ages and ages in Reefzilla as a polyp on a frag plug that was just floating around the base of the tank. It is very similar to this alien anti-venom colony. Same sort of colors, but I can tell this one has a brighter yellowy green mouth, whereas the previous Zoa didn't. And obviously we do then have the Utter Chaos, which are insane. Such a beautiful colony. It's got to that stage where pieces are just flying off the colony and starting to float around the base of the tank, which is good for frags for other reefers. So we've got one lined up for Anya from Gallery Aquatica. Over here, the so-called cookies and cream acro that I got earlier this year that nearly died. It's almost got flesh on about 85% of the skeleton now. So it's really recovered well since the start of the year. Mr. Pinky has decided in the middle of my commentary just to have a rest. He's gone into pale mode. And as you can see, he's got his trigger up there just to hold him in place. And he's got his trigger against the bottom of the glass as well. He does this a lot. It's always quite funny to watch. Let's see how close I can get to him before he swims away. I don't know what he did there. He's not happy with the attention, or is he? Homer is an absolute legend. He likes bubble algae now. Now there's a lot of it in the tank, especially in all the little crevices. There's a lot he can't get to, but anything that sort of steps out of that spot, he goes to town on it, which is great. Always picking, he's the hardest working tang ever. Mr. Pinky has reverted from stealth mode back into his normal coloration. Oh, there he goes. I've had enough. More zoas on the right hand side of the tank. Now they're only just starting to take off now. Back there we do have our forest fire digi graveyard. Every time I put one in the tank it decides not to grow. The latest one there still does have polyps on the underside of it. So hopefully it'll come back. I have had digis come back from worse. But it's really discouraging. I just want some nice bright red sticks in the tank, but they don't want to cooperate. A red and purple plating Monty. Now, it pretty much died in the tank as well, and it's come back from basically nothing. As you can see, the center of it's still dead. It's all the outside that's growing. I just took a piece off that so I could spread it around the tank so I don't lose it. The tank's going well and it's relatively stable. We've got some choices. I'd like to add some new fish and pretty much I'd like to add some angels. I know people go LPS and angels, but we are going to link up our 250, our Reefer 250 to the big tank.
Nick, come on.
And that way any LPS that the angels do nip on can be put over into the 250 to save them. So if you have any recommendations of what type of angels we should get, looking at maybe an Emperor Angel or a Regal Angel, something like that. But yeah, definitely give us any suggestions of angels. Because yeah, I really want one nice Staten fish, especially seeing though that we lost Blackadder. Yep. Also looking at, I'd like to get some more schooling fish because I like the Chromis. So I'm not sure if I should get more Chromis, a different type of Chromis, or I'd like Anthias, but I haven't had luck with Anthias in the past. He doesn't like Anthias at all.
They're just goldfish.
Also thinking of things like maybe zebra gobies. We've had zebra gobies in the past. They're really cool. And I think they'd like it in a nice big tank like this. Yeah. Just zipping around and hiding and yeah, they're a cool fish.
Yeah. If you have any other ideas, leave a comment below what you think we should chuck in the tank. And leave some comments below what you think we should put in the 250 as well. Because we're sort of unsure of what to do with that tank at this stage.
Yeah, besides the carpet nem that's still in quarantine in its ice cream bucket.
Been there for nearly 12 months now.
In preparation for linking up the tanks, we do have a Vectra L2 return pump. So that will give us more flow in both tanks. Really looking forward to seeing this one and how powerful it is, because I think that's probably the one thing that we've always struggled with. I think we've always undersized our return pumps. So that will be nice to get on the new tank.
Yep.
Really happy with the progress of the tanks. Everything is doing really well. And I think our new approach of just letting everything settle and get into their groove and really ride it nice and simple has really paid off.
Yep. Keeping it simple.
Yep.
Kiss.
Anyway, if you've enjoyed today's video, like, comment and subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment and subscribe. And as always, be excellent to each other and keep it salty, everyone. Bye for now.
See you guys. Oh, he's not drunk or hungover.
No, for a change.
For the critics.
Shut up.